What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're talking about one of my favorite things, amplifiers. In specific, Dr. Z amplifiers. So you guys know that I love Dr. Z amps, and I've been working with them since last summer, something like that. And you know, I've got the Dr. Z MAZ 18, the version 1, which sounds great. And it's a great pedal platform amp, and I've loved it for that. But recently, I have kind of switched back to using amp overdrive. Okay, I'm not using overdrive pedals so much anymore. I'm tending to use amp overdrive, keep it on all the time, and roll back the volume to clean things up. So, that is kind of how I'm running things now, and it's kind of led me to experiment with kind of some more old school methods, because that's kind of what started this whole Tone Quest journey of trying to find how I really like to run my overdrive. For the past couple of years now, I've kind of tried to convince myself to get on board with overdrive pedals, and you guys know that I've done several demos on different boards that I've done and different overdrive pedals that I've done, and I tried to convince myself that I liked to run overdrive pedals. I don't know why. It's just always the constant search for tone and everything. But really, to me, I believe that I'm always going to be the kind of person that really likes tube-driven overdrive. The sound of an amp actually creating the overdrive tones. So it's kind of led me to experiment with some of the old school methods, like players like Eric Clapton, Joe Walsh, Carlos Santana, where they would just crank up the amp, even if it's a clean amp, and get some really nice overdriven tones. So I was like, I wonder if my Dr. Z would sound really good cranked up. And you guys might have seen the demo that I did on my Dr. Z, where I did crank it up a little bit in that video, but not really to its full potential. So I was like, let's just try this. Usually for recording and everything, I use my 2-Notes Torpedo Live, and when I play live with the band, I use my 2-Notes Torpedo Captor and my cab pedal, so I never really get a chance to crank up the speaker anymore the way that I used to. I am running it into the 2-Notes today. It sounds just as good. Now, the way that I had to EQ this is a little bit different. Let's kind of take a look at the controls here. So the volume is clear at 3 o'clock. Okay, the treble is back at about 10 o'clock. The mids are up at about 3:30, and then the bass is completely off. Okay, because the MAZ 18 is such a low-end responsive amp that you have to turn the bass like completely off when you're cranking it. The cut knob we have at about 8:30, and then the master volume we have at about 11, and I'll explain why I did that here. With the cut knob, that kind of the more it's up, it's kind of more of the high end comes out. It's kind of that to cut through the mix kind of knob, and when you kind of have that rolled up with the way that I'm running this right now, it starts to sound really harsh. So I had to bring the cut knob back quite a bit. So let's hear some tones that we can get out of this thing. For the rig today, we're running simply the Telecaster straight into the MAZ 18, which is going into the 2-Notes Torpedo Live, and then we've got a little reverb in the DAW and Cakewalk. Okay, so let's kind of roll back the volume. This is kind of how I do things now. Just keep the overdrive on, roll the volume back, and it sounds like this. Okay, so we've got the volume rolled down maybe just before halfway on the guitar, and it's already starting to break up a little bit. Now if we rolled it up to halfway, it gets a really nice kind of crunch sound. Have to dial it in to what you really like, okay? So this is as close to an overdrive tone that I like as I could get out of the MAZ. By no means am I doing away with the MAZ or anything. I think its general use for the future here is going to be more geared towards being a clean amp for demos and for pedals and everything. Okay, so essentially what I'm going to look at doing is, once the whole quarantine thing is done here, I'm going to just try out some different things. The Nova has some great overdrive sounds to it. The Machete's kind of my ultimate crunch amp, and it's a 3-channel amp. It's hard to beat, but I don't like taking that out, so I would kind of like to stick to a hand-wired amp for taking out and everything. So who knows? I might end up taking the MAZ out because I really do like the tones that I'm getting out of the MAZ itself. So once again, here's the volume a little over halfway. Let's dime it. Alright, so there you guys have it. I hope you enjoyed that video. And, to kind of answer the question of the video title, can the MAZ really rock out? Yes, it can, and it sounds really nice. But I still do need a good pedal platform amp down here in the studio for doing demos and stuff. So I'm not sure yet. Maybe the MAZ will come out with me for gigs and everything and be ran kind of the way that I have it run right now. Or it might stay down here for pedal demos and everything because it's been great for that. So other than that, guys, I will see you next time. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like, a share, and please be sure to subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Have a great one.